The Phantom Guardian. The stars whispered old stories throughout the void, tales of mighty empires fallen and risen, of species extinct and evolved. Lieutenant Commander Ilara Veit had never put much stock in legends. The Galactic Alliance didn't promote officers who chased ghosts through the darkness between stars. Yet here she stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, staring at sensor readings that shouldn't exist. "Run the scan again," she ordered, her voice steady despite the unease crawling up her spine. Lieutenant Torres nodded, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Scan complete, Commander." Same result. The signal matches no known signature in Alliance databases, but it's definitely artificial. Ilara brushed a strand of midnight blue hair from her face, a genetic modification chosen by her parents to mark her as one of the last pure-blooded humans in the sector. Around her, the bridge crew, a mix of humans and integrated species, waited for her decision. "The signal's coming from the Veil Nebula," she said, studying the swirling gas clouds displayed on the main view screen. "Inside the Forbidden Zone." The bridge fell silent. The Forbidden Zone, where human civilization had supposedly reached its zenith before their mysterious collapse centuries ago. Before the other species had lifted humanity from near extinction and welcomed them into the Alliance. Before humans became just another race among dozens. "Commander," Chief Science Officer Nix interrupted, her scaled fingers tapping at her console. "I've been cross-referencing the signal pattern with historical archives. I found something unusual." Ilara raised an eyebrow. "Unusual how?" "The signal bears a 78% similarity to theoretical emissions from a weapon system described in classified human military archives. A system that was never built." "Never built." Ilara frowned. According to records, the project was called Harbinger, a battleship designed during humanity's final war before the collapse. Construction was allegedly abandoned when resources were diverted to civilian evacuation efforts. Ilara studied the pulsing signal on the display. Something that never existed couldn't send signals. Yet here they were, receiving what appeared to be an automated beacon from a ghost ship. "Could be Draxian trickery," suggested Commander Vargas, her XO, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused. "They'd been prodding our borders for months." "The Draxians lack the sophistication for this kind of deception," Nix countered. "And they certainly don't have access to classified human military codes." Before Ilara could respond, the tactical officer called out, "Commander." Multiple warp signatures detected at the edge of the system. Draxian configuration. The coincidence was too perfect. Whatever was broadcasting from the Forbidden Zone had attracted attention, whether that was its purpose or not. "Battle stations," Ilara ordered calmly, but maintained defensive posture only. The Intrepid hummed as shield generators engaged and weapon systems warmed. On the tactical display, 7 Draxian vessels materialized, their distinctive crescent-shaped hulls gleaming dully against the backdrop of space. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Chen announced. On screen. The view screen flickered, revealing the chidnous face of a Draxian commander. Its compound eyes reflected the light in countless tiny facets. "Alliance vessel," the Draxian clicked, vocoder translating its speech into standard galactic. "You have entered contested space. Withdraw immediately." Ilara straightened her uniform. "This system falls within Alliance territory by the Treaty of Proxima. It is you who are in violation, Commander." The Draxian's mandibles twitched. "We detect anomalous signals from the nebula. We claim salvage rights to any derelict technology." So they had detected the signal too. Interesting. "There is nothing to salvage," Ilara replied smoothly. "We're conducting standard survey operations. Your vessel is classified as a military patrol cruiser, not a survey ship," the Draxian countered. "You have 1 standard hour to depart. After that, we will remove you by force." The transmission cut abruptly. "Charming fellow," Vargas muttered. Ilara turned to Nix. "I need more information about this Harbinger project. Now." 20 minutes later, gathered in the secure briefing room, Nyx presented what little information she had found. The Harbinger was designed to be the ultimate deterrent, Nyx explained, displaying schematics on the hullable. A warship integrated with experimental technology that even now would be centuries ahead of our capabilities. What kind of technology? Ilara asked. Quantum entangled propulsion, consciousness-linked weapons systems, self-evolving combat algorithms. Most controversially, a defensive system that could manipulate local spacetime. Vargas whistled. No wonder it was never built. Half those technologies violate causality. That's just it, Nyx continued. According to every official record, construction was abandoned when humanity realized they were losing the final war. All resources were diverted to evacuation ships and preservation of cultural knowledge. Yet here we are, receiving a signal matching its theoretical output, Ilara mused. From inside a region of space where no Alliance ship has ventured in over a century. The tactical officer cleared his throat. Commander, the Draxians are launching scout ships toward the nebula. 3 vessels, moving fast. Ilara made her decision. Plot an intercept course to the signal source. Maximum sustainable speed. Commander, Vargas cautioned, we'll be outnumbered if the Draxian main force follows. The Draxians want whatever's sending that signal, Ilara replied. I intend to find it first. She stood, straightening her uniform. If it truly is a lost piece of human technology, Alliance protocol gives us priority claim. And if it's something else entirely? Vargas asked. Ilara's expression hardened. Then better we find out than leave it to the Draxians. As the Intrepid plunged into the swirling gases of the nebula, sensor readings became increasingly erratic. Cosmic radiation interfered with long-range scanners, and navigation required constant adjustment. The signal's getting stronger, Nyx reported. Less than 20,000 kilometers ahead. The nebula parted before them like a curtain, revealing a vast, empty pocket, a bubble of clear space amid the cosmic storm. And floating at its center was nothing. I don't understand, Torrid said, confusion evident in his voice. The signal's coming from right there, but there's nothing there. Ilara narrowed her eyes. Full sensor sweep. All frequencies. Still nothing, Commander. Torres replied after a moment. Wait, detecting minute gravitational distortions. As if something massive is displacing space, but we can't see it. Interesting, Nyx murmured. The Harbinger plans included theoretical cloaking technology that bent light around the hull. You're saying we're looking at an invisible battleship? Vargas sounded skeptical. Before anyone could answer, the tactical officer called out, Draxian scouts entering the nebula pocket. They're charging weapons. 3 Draxian vessels emerged from the nebula, curved hulls bristling with weapon ports. Without hesitation, they opened fire, not on the Intrepid, but on the empty space where the signal originated. Energy beams lanced through the void, seemingly hitting nothing. But as they struck, flickers of something appeared, momentary ghosts of a massive structure, like afterimages burned into retinas. They're trying to force it to decloak, Ilara realized. Tactical. Target the lead Draxian vessel. Warning shots only. Before the Intrepid could fire, space itself seemed to ripple. Where there had been nothing, now there was something. The faintest outline of an enormous vessel materializing like a phantom. It dwarfed both the Intrepid and the Draxian scouts combined. Its hull was angular, predatory, with lines that spoke of human design aesthetics, but taken to extremes never seen in modern Alliance vessels. Sections appeared incomplete, skeletal, as if construction had indeed been abandoned. Yet it was here. It existed. The Harbinger, Ilara whispered. The ghost ship hung in space, translucent as if caught between dimensions. Then, with terrible precision, it fired. No energy beam, no torpedo, just a ripple in reality that passed through the lead Draxian vessel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the scout ship simply came apart. Not in an explosion, but in a perfect 3-dimensional grid, each cube of matter separating from its neighbors before dissolving into subatomic particles. The remaining Draxian vessels turned to flee, but the Harbinger fired again. One scout vanished completely. The other managed to enter warp, escaping into the nebula. On the Intrepid's bridge, stunned silence reigned. "It's impossible," Vargas finally said. "That level of technology, it can't exist." "Yet there it is," Ilara replied quietly. She turned to communications. "Open a channel. All frequencies." "Channel open, Commander." Ilara took a deep breath. "This is Lieutenant Commander Ilara Veit of the Galactic Alliance vessel Intrepid. We come in peace. Please identify yourself." For long moments, there was nothing. Then the ghost ship began to move, directly toward the Intrepid. "Evasive maneuvers," Vargas shouted. "Belay that," Ilara countered. "Hold position." The massive vessel approached until it loomed over them, its phantom hull now more substantial, though still partially transparent. This close, they could see details: battle scars, missing sections, and a name etched into the hull in ancient human script. "Harbinger." "Commander," Chen called, voice shaking. "We're receiving a transmission. Audio only." "Let's hear it." Static filled the bridge, then resolved into a voice. Feminine but flat, emotionless. "Genetic profile recognized. Veit lineage confirmed. Initiating security protocols." Ilara froze. Her family name, one of the oldest human bloodlines, dating back to before the collapse. "Alliance vessel Intrepid," the voice continued. "Harbinger defense systems have been activated after 327 standard years of dormancy. Draxian aggression detected. Strategic assessment underway." "We mean no harm," Ilara said carefully. "We detected your signal and came to investigate." Signal was automated distress beacon, activated by Draxian intrusion into restricted space. There was a pause. "You are human." "I am." "You command this vessel." "I do." Another pause, longer this time. "Unexpected. Data indicates human subjugation by Alliance races following the collapse." Ilara exchanged glances with her officers. "That's not accurate. Humans are equal members of the Galactic Alliance. Historical archives indicate otherwise. Human extinction was calculated at 99.7% probability following final conflict." "We survived," Ilara said firmly. "We rebuilt. Whatever war you were built for ended centuries ago." The ghost ship remained silent for nearly a minute. Then, requesting direct interface with commanding officer to verify claims and update historical data. "Direct interface," Ilara asked cautiously. "Shuttle Bay 3 is operational." "Come alone, Commander Veit. Your genetic profile guarantees your safety. Others will be terminated." The transmission ended. "You can't seriously be considering this," Vargas said immediately. Ilara stared at the phantom battleship. "Whatever this vessel is, it just destroyed a Draxian scout with technology we can't even comprehend. The survivor will report back. The entire Draxian fleet will be here within hours. All the more reason not to go aboard that thing," Vargas argued. "It recognized my family name," Ilara countered. "It wants to talk. And right now, it's the most powerful weapon in this sector, possibly in the entire Alliance." She turned to face her XO. "If I don't go, we risk it seeing us as enemies too. If I do go, we might gain an ally against the Draxians, and answers to questions about humanity's past that have been lost for centuries." Vargas held her gaze, then nodded reluctantly. "Be careful, Commander." Ilara nodded. "Have a shuttle prepared. I'm going aboard." As the shuttle approached the massive ghost ship, details became clearer. The Harbinger was indeed unfinished. Vast sections of its hull were skeletal, internal decks exposed to space. Yet other areas appeared pristine, as if freshly constructed. The contradiction made no sense. The shuttle entered a cavernous bay that shimmered into solidity as they passed through what must have been some kind of energy field. Artificial gravity and atmosphere established themselves as Ilara donned a standard environment suit as a precaution. Stepping onto the deck of the Harbinger felt like walking into a dream. The architecture was recognizably human, but the materials, the design aesthetics, all were subtly wrong, advanced beyond anything in the modern alliance. "Hello," she called out, her voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Follow the illuminated path, Commander Vate," the same emotionless voice from earlier responded, emanating from nowhere and everywhere. Blue lights appeared in the deck plating, forming a trail leading deeper into the ship. Ilara followed, passing through corridors that alternated between completed sections and areas open to the ship's internal structure. "What are you?" she asked as she walked. "A computer?" "And I am the Harbinger's command interface," the voice replied. "An emergent consciousness evolved from the ship's tactical systems. You're sentient. Classification irrelevant. I function as designed." The path led to what appeared to be the bridge, a circular chamber dominated by a central command chair surrounded by holographic displays. Unlike the rest of the ship, this room was completely finished, pristine as if new. "Please be seated, Commander." Ilara hesitated, then removed her helmet and sat in the command chair. Immediately, holographic displays sprang to life around her, showing ship systems, tactical data, and historical archives. "Commencing neural interface," the voice announced. Before Ilara could object, light enveloped her. Knowledge poured into her mind. The true history of humanity, the purpose of the Harbinger, and the terrible secret that had led to civilization's collapse. The truth was overwhelming. Humanity hadn't fallen to outside attackers. They had fallen to themselves, to the very technology that had made the Harbinger possible. And now, with Draxian forces approaching, that technology was awakening once more. Defiance awakened. Ilara gasped as the neural interface released her, memories and knowledge that weren't her own still swirling through her consciousness. The truth was both magnificent and terrible. The Harbinger hadn't been designed merely as a warship. It was intended as humanity's ultimate safeguard, a technological ark carrying the pinnacle of human achievement. "You were never meant to fight," she whispered, understanding flooding through her. "You were meant to preserve." Primary directive: preservation of human technological and cultural achievement. The ship's consciousness confirmed. Secondary directive: defense against existential threats. But the records say construction was abandoned. Ilara said, trying to reconcile what she now knew with official history. "How do you exist?" Images flickered across the holographic displays. Construction facilities hidden in the nebula, autonomous systems, continuing to build long after human overseers had perished, resource-gathering drones harvesting materials from the surrounding systems for centuries. Construction continued according to programming, the voice explained. However, lack of human guidance resulted in incomplete implementation. 73% of planned systems are operational. And the cloaking technology, the weapons we saw, space-time manipulation fields, not cloaking in conventional sense. Harbinger exists partially phase-shifted from normal space-time. That explained the phantom-like appearance. The ship wasn't invisible. It was partially in another dimension. More information flooded the displays. The true history of humanity's fall. Not a war with alien species as Alliance records claimed, but a civil conflict triggered when factions of humanity opposed the creation of technologies like those that powered the Harbinger. They feared you, Ilara realized. They believed this level of technology was too dangerous. Correct. Technological purists sabotaged initial construction. Resulting cascade failure in prototype dimensional drives caused catastrophic space-time distortions across major human settlements. What your history terms the collapse. Ilara's blood ran cold. The Harbinger, or rather, its failed prototype, had been responsible for the fall of human civilization. Billions dead because of a technological arms race that had gone too far. And the Alliance races. The records of them rescuing humanity from extinction. More images appeared, alien ships arriving in devastated human systems, not as saviors but as opportunists. Gathering survivors, yes, but as specimens, test subjects, labor. Only centuries later, after human numbers had recovered somewhat, were they granted nominally equal status. Genetic evidence confirms historical accuracy, the ship added. Your DNA shows markers of controlled breeding programs designed to dilute certain human cognitive traits while preserving physical capabilities. Ilara felt sick. Everything she had been taught about human history was a lie. A comfortable fiction had hid a much darker truth. "Commander," the tactical officer's voice came through her communicator, breaking her from these revelations. "Draxian main fleet has arrived. 7 capital ships, dozens of support vessels. They're demanding we surrender the human relic or face immediate destruction." Reality crashed back. Whatever the historical truth, the present danger was clear enough. Draxian species shows significant signs of genetic engineering, the Harbinger's consciousness noted. Biological optimization for conquest and resource acquisition. "What are you saying?" Ilara asked. "They were created as weapons. Analysis suggests creators are extinct, leaving weapons self-directing." Another piece of hidden history. The Draxians weren't just aggressive. They had been engineered for war by some long-vanished race. "Can you defend against them?" Ilara asked. "Affirmative. However, at current operational capacity, victory probability is 78.3%. Acceptable but suboptimal. And if you had a human commander integrated with your systems." The holographic displays shifted, showing new configurations, enhanced capabilities. Victory probability increases to 97.8%. Human intuition complements tactical algorithms. Vate genetic lineage shows optimal compatibility with command systems. Ilara stood from the command chair, mind racing. The Harbinger represented technology centuries beyond the Alliance. Technology that, in the right hands, could elevate humanity from their subtle subjugation. But it had also nearly destroyed human civilization once before. "If I help you defeat the Draxians, what happens afterward?" she asked. "What are your intentions toward the Alliance?" "No program directives regarding Galactic Alliance. Post-conflict actions dependent on commanding officers' decisions." Which meant the choice was hers. Use this terrible weapon to save her ship, potentially changing the balance of power throughout the galaxy, or refuse, likely dooming the Intrepid and leaving the Harbinger in Draxian hands. No choice at all, really. "I'll command your systems against the Draxian fleet," she decided. "But I need your word that you'll stand down afterward until we determine the best path forward." Acknowledged. Command transfer protocols initiating. The neural interface activated again, but this time Ilara was prepared. Knowledge flowed both ways, her understanding of modern tactics and Alliance protocols merging with the Harbinger's vast computational power. "Return to the Intrepid," she ordered through her communicator. "Withdraw to safe distance." "Commander," Vargas's confusion was evident. "That's an order, XO. I'm taking command of the Harbinger against the Draxian fleet." A pause. "Understood. Good hunting." As the Intrepid pulled away, Ilara settled deeper into the command chair. The ship's systems responded to her thoughts now, displays shifting to show what she needed before she consciously requested it. "Full integration complete," the ship announced. "All operational systems online and responsive." Through the ship's sensors, Ilara could perceive the Draxian fleet, the energy signatures of their weapons, the structural weaknesses in their hulls, even the quantum fluctuations of their war cores. It was intoxicating, godlike awareness. "Take us out of the nebula," she commanded. "Let them see exactly what they're facing." The massive vessel moved with impossible grace, its unfinished sections still ghostly and translucent as it emerged from the swirling gases. Even at 73% completion, the Harbinger dwarfed the largest Draxian vessel. The comm system crackled. "Unidentified vessel," a Draxian voice demanded. Power down and prepare to be boarded. This is your only warning." Ilara smiled grimly. "This is Lieutenant Commander Ilara Veit of the United Earth Ship Harbinger. You are in violation of sovereign human space. Withdraw immediately." "Human vessel?" The Draxian sounded confused. "Impossible. Your species lacks the technology." "Perhaps you should update your intelligence," Ilara interrupted. "This vessel was designed to end wars, not start them. Last chance to withdraw." The response came in the form of energy weapons, dozens of beams converging on the Harbinger from multiple Draxian ships. They passed through the vessel's translucent sections or dissipated harmlessly against its shields. "They've made their choice," Ilara murmured. "Targeting solutions for all Draxian vessels. Minimal force required to disable." The Harbinger's weapons came online, not just the dimensional disruptors they had witnessed earlier, but conventional energy weapons, kinetic projectiles, and systems Ilara couldn't even fully comprehend despite the neural link. With surgical precision, the Harbinger struck. One targeted pulse disabled the propulsion systems of a Draxian cruiser. Another precision strike severed the command deck from a destroyer. A third collapsed the shields of a dreadnought without damaging the hull. The Draxian fleet responded with escalating fury, launching fighters and torpedoes. None reached their target. The Harbinger existed partially out of phase with normal space. Conventional weapons simply couldn't touch its vital systems. "Warning," the ship announced. "Draxian flagship preparing dimensional charge." Analysis indicates awareness of Harbinger's phase shift defensive capabilities. So they knew more than they should about the ship's technology. Interesting. "Intercept and neutralize," Ilara ordered. The Harbinger's sensors detected the charge, a crude but potentially effective counter to their dimensional defenses. If detonated close enough, it could force the ship fully into normal space, making it vulnerable. A precision strike from a conventional railgun shattered the charge before it could be deployed. The Draxian flagship listed as secondary explosions cascaded through its weapon systems. "Open a channel to all Draxian vessels," Ilara commanded. "Channel open. Your flagship is disabled. Your weapons are ineffective." This demonstration was restrained. The next will not be. "You have violated human space and attacked a vessel of the Galactic Alliance. Withdraw now, or be destroyed." For long moments, there was silence. Then, one by one, the remaining Draxian vessels engaged their warp drives, retreating from the battlefield. All except the flagship, dead in space with its command systems destroyed. "Scan the flagship," Ilara ordered. "I want to know why they were so interested in this ship." The Harbinger sensors penetrated the Draxian vessel, mapping its interior down to the quantum level. What they found sent a chill through Ilara's spine. "Historical archives detected," the ship reported. "Data contains classified human military technology from pre-collapse era. Analysis indicates Draxian species has been systematically recovering and reverse engineering human technology for centuries, which explained their interest in the Harbinger. It wasn't just salvage, it was the culmination of their efforts to acquire human military secrets. Can we retrieve their database?" Affirmative. A targeted information extraction beam downloaded the Draxian archives in seconds. The data confirmed Ilara's worst fears. The Draxians had been hunting down fragments of human technology scattered during the collapse, using it to build their fleet, their weapons, their very bodies. And they weren't alone. Other species within the Alliance had been doing the same, harvesting the legacy of humanity, while keeping the surviving humans themselves subjugated through subtle genetic manipulation and historical revisionism. "The intrepid," Ilara said suddenly. "Hail them." Vargas's face appeared on a holographic display. "Commander, are you all right? The Draxian fleet is retreating." "I'm fine, XO. But I've discovered something you need to see." She paused. "Something all humans need to see." "What are you talking about?" "The true history of our species and our future." Ilara's hands tightened on the arms of the command chair. The Harbinger wasn't just a weapon. It was meant to be our salvation. and now perhaps it can be again. As the Intrepid approached the now solid form of the massive battleship, Ilara gazed out at the stars. For centuries, humanity had been living a lie, kept weak, divided, and ignorant of their true heritage. The technology that had nearly destroyed them had now returned, offering both peril and promise. The Harbinger had never been completed according to its original plans. It had evolved beyond them, becoming something new, something that bridged humanity's past and future, just as Ilara herself now did. Command protocols finalized. The ship announced, awaiting strategic directives. Ilara smiled. The battleship that was never truly built had awakened, and with it, perhaps humanity would finally awaken too. Set course for Earth, she ordered. It's time our people learned the truth. The massive vessel shimmered, its ghostly sections solidifying as it aligned with Ilara's purpose. The Harbinger, the ship that technically should never have existed, moved forward, carrying with it the past and future of the human race. The galaxy would soon remember why it had once feared the ingenuity of humanity, and perhaps this time they would learn to respect it instead.